believe in the power of regeneration. And I think the human spirit has taken a battering. Yeah. And I do spend a lot of time with young people, not my own, but other people's in classrooms and in universities. And I've got a lot of hope in young people. Now, they've been called lazy, they've been called unrealistic. I disagree with that. I actually think they're fairly spot on. And of course, you mentioned just a few minutes ago that when they're looking for work now, they are looking at something entirely different. It used to be terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Now it's the culture of the company. Now it's how does a company impact on its own people? And how does a company impact on the environment and their local communities? And I think that's really important. So we're going to see, I think, the most exciting period of change in my lifetime. And I've been around since 1950. So that's quite a long span of time. And I've seen all these different iterations of government and the geopolitical changes that have taken place in that time. I think now we're going through the kind of last desperate leap of people in government, trying to make some sense of it. But if we think there are 1.2 billion 15 to 24-year-olds in the world just now, by 2030, they will represent 16% of the entire population of the world. So their influence is going to grow and grow and grow. Now, the one thing that I think we need more of is creativity, because when you've got a status quo situation and when you've got people into some kind of settled system, and we haven't yet left the industrial revolution system of leadership, of workplace management, of workplace structure, the fact that we talk about processes and departmental structures all the time still tells you that we haven't got it right. And I think that young people have been brought up in a different kind of understanding of the world, and they will reshape it. They will reshape it in their image, but they're also an empathetic generation. And I would say, if you look around the world just now, we've got pretty poor leadership across the world at the moment, and that is telling, because great leaders become known as great leaders. I mean, we've got so few that we can probably rattle off a number of people that we consider to be great leaders. So I think that leadership is going to be something that we begin to understand in a way that we haven't before. Leadership's about developing more leaders. It's about empowering people. And I can tell you, some of the jobs I've had have been, the complete reverse of that philosophy. I remember starting in the steelworks in 1971 and not knowing what I was making for the first 4 days. Can you imagine being in a production line? It was hot. You were being hit by these sparks all the time. You wouldn't wear goggles because that would impede and inhibit the speed of production. And I didn't know what I was actually making until I demanded of the management that they tell me what came out the other end. In fact, it was camshafts for folk. But that idea that as an employee, you're fitting a slot, that you're merely a unit of production, and all the creativity is taken out of the job. I think we'll see an end to job descriptions as we know them. I think HR departments have to become the leadership department, because leadership is really all about having a vision, a really clear vision of where you want to be, and the rest is up to people.
You're spot on, Mike. And, without wishing to get into politics, but the example of what happened today at the new British UK Prime Minister's, first speech ever, maybe it could be the only speech ever, but anyway, that's not, I'm just putting that out there. But did you notice the Greenpeace protesters, two young, very courageous, very compassionate, very passionate, very visionary, and young people were prepared to put it out there, and they were leaders in their own way,
Yeah. I'd just like to point out the Greenpeace intrusion was very interesting for two reasons. One, that they managed to get in and like delegates, and they had badges. I don't know how they managed to do that.
Nope.
But the second is, if you question this whole notion that Greenpeace are anti-growth, then you're missing a huge point, because Greenpeace has been one of the most influential progressive organizations in the world, and they're disruptors. They are the disruptors because they've taken huge risks. They've intercepted ships in the middle of the Arctic Ocean. They have climbed on oil rigs in the North Sea, and that's inhospitable terrain in anyone's language. So these are the disruptors, but they've got a purpose. It's not to be disruptive. It is to achieve a world in which future generations can live, both in peace and an environment which gives them fresh air and all the wonders of nature. And if there's a better purpose around just now, I'd like to know what it is. Yeah,
you've summed it up.
Yeah.
Mike. Terry.
You put it on. You put it right on point. I've seen some content of yours in the past, and I just had a nice conversation with a young person the other day while shopping, and Greenpeace kind of came up, and I said, back in my day, we were a bunch of hippies. Now Greenpeace are, like you say, the disruptors. They're not bad people. They're not out there to cause conflict. They're out there to make a difference and do stuff. And this is not about an environmental show. This is about what's going on in the world and what thought leaders get to do when they talk to their clients about influencing where this world is going to go. Exactly. And you never know what words you're going to say on any given day to a client or someone where the bell goes off.